On? Are we on? Yeah, there we
Mhm,
go.
mhm.
All right. Hey, y'all. Everybody, welcome to Smart Business Moves. I'm Liz Trotter, and I've got a co host with me today. I've got a guest with me today. It's so fun. I've got Maria Dorian. She is co hosting with me. Thank you so much for helping me out today, Maria. And then we've got Dan Hertz. Dan, do you go by Daniel or Dan?
A lot of people. My wife calls me Daniel. My parents call me Dan and Danny. My friends call me all different types of names. So honestly, it doesn't really matter to me.
You're easy. All right. All right. Well, we're
Mhm.
going to go with Dan. We don't want to infringe on your wife's kind of nickname there. That's
Yeah, my Starbucks name used to be Bruno, or and now it's
Oh,
Felix.
no, that's
So,
kind of cute. Oh, I kind of like
w-
both of those actually.
well, Felix is my newborn son. So,
Oh,
oh,
so yeah,
cool.
oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's cute. Well, I'm glad I said I like that name.
I wouldn't have told you I had a son named Felix if you
Yeah,
didn't.
good call. Yeah.
I,
Oh, that is cute. All right. Well, we're running late today, but as y'all know, Tom only believes in running late. Only. He never starts on time. Even if we're here 10 minutes early, I'm like, Tom, can we go live? So he will love that we're starting late today.
Oh,
He's not here today. He's traveling, and I don't know what he's out there doing. But hey, Tom, if you're watching this, I know you will at some point in
um,
time.
mhm.
Just for you, we're late. All right. So this, um, before we get into the topic of lead digression and how to combat it, Q&A, before we have you explain what that is, Dan, I just want to do a real quick Issa Kiss. And for everybody, just as a reminder, ISSA convention is coming up here, gosh, a month, less than a month now at this point. Woof. Starting on November 13th. If you aren't going, if you've been on the fence, hey, Dawn. Let me see. She's talking to you. I think there she is. Did you get her email?
I've been on calls for the last 5 hours. That's a big no.
That's so
Mhm.
funny. I love that she's going to hit you up on a podcast if she can't get you by email. High five, Don. Oh, way to take advantage of technology. That's amazing. All right. But if you're not going to ISSA, the convention, or you've been on the fence, um, let me just give you a couple of reasons why you might want to go. First reason is you're going to get a new perspective. This is one of my very, very favorite reasons to go. Um, we kind of get in our own little bubble, right? And I'm guessing this is the same with y'all too, right, Maria? Right, Dan? We get
Mhm.
into our own little bubble about what we think, what we know, and we just sort of get into these rhythms and these routines, and we just keep going along. But the convention
Mhm.
really pulls you out of that and forces you to see things from other perspectives and see something just a little bit different than you may have looked at it before. Or at least it's always happened for me. I've been going ever since I think I wasn't at the very first ARCSI convention. I hadn't heard of it yet, but I've been at everyone since that very first one. And the reason for that is perspective. I love to get fresh perspective. I come home really energized. Do y'all tend to go to the convention or any convention or anything like this? Dan, I don't know. Do they have, yes, second year going, Amanda? Woohoo. Yes. Dan, do they have anything like this in your space, your field?
Yeah, there's tons of marketing or conferences or SEO things or places where people can be groups and things like that.
Yeah.
There's endless amounts of them. Honestly, a lot of them are a lot of look at me, hoopy hollery.
Oh,
I'm the best. I
it's
know everything.
marketing.
It's marketing, and honestly, I've been doing this so long. I'm just like, oh, I can't stand those events to a certain
Yeah,
extent. To be honest with you,
Mhm.
I
uh,
get that. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of arrogance to a certain degree. If it was more industry focused, like for cleaners or for remodelers or
Yeah.
for things like that, there's a lot more to it because you're meeting other people in the industry that are in the
Yeah.
same
Mhm.
positions you are in. So, for marketers, marketers tend to be a little bit more. fabricated. So,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm kind of past that in my world. I probably was a little
Yeah.
bit like that in the beginning, but I think it's much more valuable for like industry people like yourself that is like actually with a cleaning company, and there's all cleaners here, and they're talking about all things about cleaning and what they're doing and how they're achieving
Yeah.
it. So,
And we all have problems,
Yeah.
and we
mhm,
don't have the constraint. Marketing, I like what you said. It's kind of fabricated.
mhm.
Marketing, that's part of the job, right? Is you have to make something sometimes out of less. You have to. So
Totally,
I can see
and
how.
a lot of things with marketing in general, which I'll get into in this topic when you ask
Okay.
about it, but a lot
Okay.
of things in marketing in general is unfortunately you have to give bad news, and a lot of times marketers that are getting paid by clients don't like to give bad news because they think though that company or that individual is not doing a good job for me. But in essence, when there's certain things that happen, like for instance, economy changes, there's forces of nature that you can't really control, but you can combat it in certain ways to make things better than what they perceive. So yeah.
Agreed. I love that.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm kind of getting excited. That's what we're going to be talking a little bit about.
Hmm.
All right, looking
Hmm.
forward to it. How about you, Maria? I know that you're in Spain now, so obviously much harder
Yeah.
for you to go to these types of events. But did
Yeah.
you have the perspective shift when you used to be here and you used to go? I know you did with Quality Driven every year too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, so when I go to the events, I usually have like a small list of problems that I'm coming to the event with. Like, okay, by the time I leave the event, I want to have an answer to these things. So that's always helpful. And my thing with events, so because people from the industry, right, they always go, it's the same, it tends to be the same people, and you see your friends that you develop friendships with. I always go with the thought mentality of I'm going to meet somebody new that I've never met before, which is actually how I met Martha. She
Oh,
happened to be sitting alone in a table, and I'm like, there's a woman over there, I'm just going to go sit next to her and introduce myself and say hi, and
wow.
the rest is kind of history.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that about
So,
you meeting Martha.
mhm.
Okay. Well, then
Yeah,
that's my second
yeah.
point. You brought up my exact second point for a great reason to go to the convention. You meet people that you would not meet otherwise, and you are afforded opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise
Mhm.
if you hadn't gone. You met Martha, y'all started a business together, you
Yeah.
did a lot of things simply because of your
Mhm.
experience at the convention. All right, same
Yeah, for
me
sure.
too.
Hmm.
I think Tom and I had been in together on, I don't know, maybe 7 8 different businesses at this point in time. Is that right? Somewhere around there. And I met him at the convention, right? So I wouldn't have had those businesses if it hadn't been for meeting him. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the other big thing. So just two reasons today. One is new perspective, and meet different people and gain new opportunities that you never even would have dreamed of. All right.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
it for the It's a Kiss. And I want to like kind of dig into this topic. First, though, seriously, Dan, I was kind of sounded like I was joking. Hey, Shirley, good to see you.
Hmm.
I'm
Shirley.
working with Shirley's daughter right now, and I love her. All righty.
Cool.
So let's see. You're gonna have to explain what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward if you think about it. We deal with mostly like house service verticals, right?
Okay.
So we obviously have cleaning companies we work a lot with, like about 40, 50 of them at this point in time throughout the country. And then we also, our other verticals are, for instance, like solar, remodelers, general contractors, that kind of vertical, plumbers, HVAC. And all these home service businesses I have, just like Maria, like 5 10 meetings a day, it seems like these days, and I can't even get to my emails at the end of the day or the next day. And I see Maria messaging, and now I know you're in Spain. I saw you emailed me like last night at like midnight. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Maria must be in Spain. And but anyways, I'm seeing kind of across the board, people. I want to say the word complaining. I don't want to make it in the negative, but they're concerned about their lead generation, right?
Mhm.
As of
Yeah.
late, and
Huge right
that's
now.
yeah, like right now, ever since pretty much August through now,
Yeah.
is I've been hearing it a lot,
Oh my God.
and
Mm,
and
Me
it's tough,
too.
and it's difficult to kind of talk about with clients because I take a look at things look okay, and then I have to kind of use my other skill sets away from what we do as an agency to kind of support their roles.
Hold on. Let
Yeah.
me interrupt here, Dan. I just realized that, of course, I know who you are.
Oh
Maria
yeah,
knows who you are,
everybody
and
knows who I am.
hopefully
Yeah,
everybody that is live knows who you are. But we're
maybe.
going to
Yeah,
have a lot of people
yeah.
on here
yeah.
later that aren't going to have a clue. So do me a favor. I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and also, actually, Maria, I'll have you introduce yourself first, real quick, and then Dan,
Sure.
after you introduce yourself, then we can jump back in again.
All right, all
Sorry,
right.
throwing off my game here by being all.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Maria.
Sure, I'll start. Okay, so my name is Maria Dorian, and I'm probably most well known at this point for starting Taskaway Virtual Assistants. I'm on the ZenMay team and Listening Cells, a co-partner on Listening Cells with Liz and Dan Smith. And I live in Spain,
And you
as you
live in
guys got.
Spain. And you got a few kids over there too. So,
And I got
all
it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got kind of a fun little life going on there. All right. And Dan, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Daniel Hirth. I'm one of the owners of a company called One Click Marketing. We used to be called SEO One Click until we expanded into pretty much doing an all-in-one service for digital
I didn't
marketing.
know that. I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
What
didn't
is the
know
name of it?
if you go to our domain,
What?
it's actually SEOOneClick.com.
Okay.
But
Right.
as we organically grew, clients started to ask us, "Do you guys do websites? Do you guys do AdWords? Do you guys do this, that, and this?" And when you're growing, you never say no. So you just say yes to them all, and then you figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
So now we,
Entrepreneur.
yeah. So now
Yeah.
we're a full service digital marketing firm. The
Okay.
only thing we don't
Oh, cool.
really do is social media. I was actually a VP of a social media marketing firm 2 jobs before starting this business. I'm not a huge fan of doing social media marketing, in all honesty, just mentally for myself and just in general. It can definitely be good for some industries and some businesses, but obviously it's a whole nother topic in itself.
Yeah.
And then I was a marketing director for a top 50 remodeling firm where I met my business partner, Jordan. And now 15 years later, we have this company called One Click Marketing. We have 40 in-house salaried staff employees. And I say it like that just simply because the majority of marketing agencies outsource the work that they do, and we keep it all under one roof. I know every single one of my staff members personally. I've been out for drinks with them and everything else. So and honestly, in the marketing world nowadays, when it comes to, let's just say, SEO in general, is like you have website tasks, you have content tasks, you have backlinking tasks, you have Google local tasks, and all of those kind of are connected to really create an authority for your company to rank better and get more visible in search. So you can't really have separate departments working separately away from each other if you want the best results from what I see. Now, obviously, there's a lot of agencies out there in the world that grow really fast and they get thousands and thousands of clients and they have to kind of outsource a lot of their work. And I understand that model, but we're more of a boutique model. We only take on about 110 clients at a time. So that's kind of my background. There's probably a lot more than my background. I was also a Class A PGA golf professional, but that's a whole different topic.
What?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
cool to know.
Oh,
I
cool.
love that. We
Yeah.
should make all of our guests give us some obscure fact about them that nobody knew. I love that. That's interesting.
That's
I'm
it.
doing that from now on. Poor Tom, you walk away for 1 week, and what happens? Liz changes the show.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So,
Mhm.
Cool.
what is it? Give us just PGA what?
Class A PGA golf professional. So basically, what that means is I used to be my first job out of college. For 7 years, I worked at a place called the Phoenician in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is a
Mhm.
5 diamond resort, and I was the membership director there. I grew into becoming the membership director there, And I was also a Class A PGA golf professional. And that's a fancy dancy resort. When people come to Phoenix, all the politicians, presidents, and celebrities usually stay at that resort. I've played golf with 3 presidents.
Oh,
I have a lot of
Wow.
stats. I have a lot of stats and fun things of name dropping that I could do, but
wow, that's cool.
a
Cool.
lot of secrets went down in those types of resorts, especially. So
That's super cool. We're definitely doing this, Tom. Hey, when you come back, sorry for the new shift, but that's awesome. I'm gonna love finding
Yeah,
out
it's
this
good to
cool
know.
stuff.
yeah,
All
we
right.
all have lots of background, right? So
Yeah, right? No kidding. So Dan, Donna is asking, did he say it was part of One SEO?
it's here.
I'll share
It's
your website,
let me
so you
share.
don't have to
Yeah,
worry about that, Dan.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. It's SEO1click.com, but we're rebranded to be called One Click Marketing, and one is spelled out. So you won't
Mm.
find our website by looking at One Click Marketing because there's honestly, I've looked at it and there's 21 click marketing types of company names in that
Yeah, I
regard.
noticed that.
But that's okay. We actually don't really utilize our website to market our brand, believe it or not, which is kind of counterintuitive because that's what we do for all of our clients.
Yeah.
So, where we see the most amount of business for a company like ours is actually through email marketing, through referral marketing, and also through cold calling, believe it or not. It actually
Oh,
works really, really well. Um,
Oh.
yeah, been using a new platform. I don't know if you guys have all heard of, and this is all great information for everybody out there, even though it's not exactly about the topic. Have you ever heard of a platform called Zoom Info? So Zoom Info, if you haven't
Mhm.
heard about it,
vaguely familiar.
is one of the bigger. They're actually publicly traded on the
Mhm.
Nasdaq, and they're really basically they're compile tons of data and information about people out there. Why we use it is it creates intent signals. So I actually they give us categories that we pay for. So I can actually see everybody in the remodeling industry that has been searching for SEO marketing in the past day, week, or month. And I
Oh,
actually can see
Wow.
the person's name that has actually been doing it,
mm,
and I get their phone
wow.
number and their email. So we
What?
can act,
And then you cold call them.
and then you cold call them. So you can actually
That's
call,
amazing.
ask for John Smith at XYZ General Contracting and be like, hey, we heard that you have been looking for new SEO marketing or digital marketing or whatever the topic is.
Yeah,
And you can kind of cold call them based on that. So it's not just as cold calling with intent. I know that everybody dislikes
yeah,
getting spam and telemarketing. I know. We assist into that issue, but it actually works quite well, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
Wow, that's
And then
so good to know.
yeah, when it comes to doing like SEO or PPC or website marketing for marketing agency, can you imagine the amount of competition nationally for competing for things like that?
yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. It's a
Mhm.
waste of time.
Astronomical. Yeah,
Even the AdWords clicks are the cost per click is extremely high. It's just not worth it. There's other ways. So you just have to get creative sometimes with your marketing. And we'll talk about that with this topic. But yeah,
Good.
you just definitely have to just get more creative with how you approach your marketing, especially when times get a little bit more difficult, like everybody's experiencing right now. Um,
so one of my circles today, we were talking about this exact topic, of course, right?
mhm.
Everybody's looking for how to get more leads, etc. And a question came up today, Dan. I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited! Dan's going to be on Smart Business
Yeah,
Moves.
let's hear it.
I can ask."
Hear it.
The question was, so this gentleman, his company, he lives East Coast, um, Pennsylvania, and his uh, cost per click has just skyrocketed.
Mhm.
It's somewhere around in the last, like, I think 6 to 8 weeks. Cost per click is like $15
Mhm.
click. Do you have any ideas what could potentially be happening or what you might look at? Or,
There could be a lot of reasons for that, Liz.
okay, okay,
So first, I would have asked him like, have you done any changes since you noticed this? Because I'll give you one example. I've been
okay,
doing. I actually have been AdWords certified for almost 15 years, and we do a lot of AdWords for cleaning companies ourselves. So I can say actually pretty eloquently, like in the last 3 weeks, I've been testing new models, like moving away from the bidding strategy of maximize conversions for the
okay,
people that understand it out there to Google's trying to push you into what's called maximize conversion value. and they've even been recommending
Okay.
that. They like are pushing you towards it in their recommendations tab and things like that. So I did a test. I did a test with a couple of our companies that are out there. You might know them. Like I did it with PH Clean and Maids and More, and
Mhm.
and I noticed within a week that their average cost per click went up 40 to 60% on their campaigns by switching over to
That's
that bidding
crazy.
system. And
Wow.
I didn't see much of a difference with conversions, because obviously if you get that many more conversions, then who cares if you're bidding higher?
Yeah, of course.
So I changed it right away after testing it. But that's kind of what you have to do as marketers. You have to test new
Yep.
avenues to try to increase the lead generation. So that could be a reason why, was one
Okay.
of them. Another reason why is you can also, if you go from broad match targeting to phrase or exact match targeting to your
Okay.
Mhm.
keywords.
I don't think he
Yeah.
made any changes. He made
So
it sound like he hadn't.
so if he's made zero changes at all, there's only one reason for that.
Okay.
And usually in down economies, and this is a good example of a digression, is in down economies, Google's smart. They obviously know this. It's based on an auction system.
Yeah.
Typically, the smartest businesses actually invest more into their marketing in a down economy.
Mhm.
That's very common. It's very
Very
psychologically
common.
difficult for people to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very psychological, but most people do. They'll
Mhm.
cut their own salaries, they'll cut their own revenues just for the purpose of doing that to gain more market share of their business.
Mhm.
So the ones that do that, they'll notice that a lot of other companies do that. And the cost per click bidding, they know that there's less, Google knows there's less leads out there. Therefore, there's more demand. So therefore, there's less supply, more demand, and therefore the cost goes up. Just in general,
Mhm.
of normal
Mm.
economics of the world with any products or services, when there's less supply, usually the cost goes up,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
that's kind of what we're
Mm.
looking at. There's less supply of volume for people looking for your services right now. Therefore, Google is charging more from an auction standpoint. So that would be the reason if there's been zero changes done.
Okay.
All
So
right.
the bad news for him is that this means there's just fewer leads out there, period. So you're paying a premium for them because there's just fewer of them.
There is. And
Okay.
Mm.
the volume overall, and you see it, you just see it in website traffic, you see it in AdWords clicks, you see it in people searching in AdWords numbers, you see it in SEO, you just see it across the board. There's less people searching for your services, and it's kind of common sense, right? This is
Yeah.
lead digression, right? I mean, for me, I'm even spending less money, and I don't necessarily need to, but just because the economy is struggling, like, I mean, today, 8% mortgage rates, right?
Yeah.
30-year, it hit the first time
Yeah.
since 2000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Financing is
Yeah.
miserable. Cost of products and gas and inflation and everything and food is at an all-time high, right? Every People are cutting back on things that aren't as necessary. And unfortunately, the cleaning world is part of that cutting back. So you have to figure out ways to combat those issues, or just to understand where you're at today and set realistic expectations of your business.
Mhm.
But understand that, listen, this I'm sure you guys have been through these before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be the last time we go through something where the lead digresses. You just have
No.
to understand that. What do you do to combat it? In my opinion, you do more to get more market share in your current industry. So when the economy does start to turn around, people do psychologically start to want to spend more money on your services. You are out there in more spots and more visible in more areas for you to take up more market share away from all your competitors that got nervous and cut back. And it's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward, right?
Okay.
Um,
See this comment here?
yeah. Went to exact match and created new ads. Also the same phrase match. 125 versus 14 is different campaigns. I'm not exactly sure what.
It
Maybe
cost 125, $1.25 versus
Adult chocolate.
$14, but they were in different campaigns, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like they're in different campaigns. Usually, if your cost per click is in the $1 to $2 or less range, you're
Yeah.
probably doing some kind of display marketing. And
Okay.
display marketing is great for a cost per click when it's cheaper, but it really doesn't convert that well at all.
Okay.
My suggestion is you always want to focus on your search clicks, just the general ones when people look for a cleaning service near me,
Okay.
and your ads pop up on top. right?
Okay.
Those ones
Okay.
are, you always want to go for search. You can do remarketing ads. So if people have already been to your website or have intent for searching cleaning services, because you can target people with intent of cleaning services with display ads, then those might be a little bit more useful. But to me, depending on the budget you have, you want to make the budget work for you the best you can.
Yeah.
And instead of going focusing on things that won't convert as much, even though it creates less traffic, like, because you can get a ton of clicks from display traffic,
Okay.
but that's not a big deal. Those are a lot of times agencies actually put display marketing on your ads themselves just to increase the volume to showcase how great they're doing as a job.
Oh,
Right. And that's why
Oh,
that's why it's smart to be realistic, is that this is the fabricated marketers that I talk
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
Liz,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
mm,
you just got to be real with your clients. You got to be like, listen, there's less volume out there. So if we're talking about certain buckets of topics, like with AdWords, you want to make sure that you do smart with your budget. Like what I've been telling clients is, like, let's take a look at how your cost per click is from a day-to-day basis, and see how much volume is from a day-to-day basis. Let's say Saturdays and Sundays are a little bit slower from a volume standpoint. So let's take the budget away from your Saturdays and Sundays and throw that into your Mondays through Fridays, so you have your budget work more for you on days that may convert better for you,
Okay.
right?
that's a
Another
good smart.
And
Yeah.
same thing with hours of operation.
Yeah.
You can actually see in the Google area, like at 4 to 5 o'clock, the amount of impressions or clicks or conversions you get versus 10 to 11. Usually what I see in the cleaning industry, the most conversions and the amount of people searching happens between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So a
Okay.
lot of times we'll
Yeah.
compress the budget to 5 hours of the day instead of 8 to 10 hours of the day, right?
Okay.
And a lot of times on the weekends, it's a good topic for you, Maria, for VAs, right? A lot of topics, like people don't have the phone, they don't answer the phone on the weekend. So why are you running
Right.
ads on the weekend if nobody is answering the phone on the weekend? You're just doing yourself a
Correct.
disservice. And a lot
Yeah.
of times people don't have it in their operations to have some kind of follow-up process on Monday morning for all your missed calls. Just because nobody left a voicemail, lots of times I don't leave voicemails.
Hmm.
I
Right?
don't.
I
I
don't leave
never
voicemails.
do.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's only in the systems or the training of the person to call back the people that left the voicemail Monday morning instead
Yeah.
of going through
And
your
which is difficult. Which
totally.
is difficult because Monday morning, like organically, you're everything's happening on Monday. So by the time you get to return those lead calls, it's like 11, 12, and people really have moved on by that point.
But wait, what did I hear you say though, Dan? I think I heard you start to say that you need to pull the list of calls and call back the people who didn't leave messages.
At the very least, right? Just call
Yeah.
all the missed calls that you have on your
Yeah.
caller ID.
I love that.
I mean, nobody does that, and I don't know why. I mean,
No.
but not only that, it's unfortunately, even if you do that, which is, you can probably scrounge a few leads every month by calling all the missed calls.
Yeah.
But even if you still do that, everybody knows when you don't contact the person back within 5 minutes of them,
Yeah.
reaching out, your conversions drop over 70%.
Well,
And
I don't
and
think everybody knows 70%.
it's a lot, right?
Right.
People have
That's
already
a big
moved.
number.
If I haven't heard from a company that I tried reaching out to, that when I need my house cleaned in a matter of a few minutes or an hour even,
Yeah. I'm calling somebody else.
I'm calling somebody else, right?
I'm
Like
not
there's
even
there's
gonna
Or
there's
you
admit it.
lose interest too.
there's no efficiency. Just because
No.
you have the most reviews in Google,
No.
I'm not gonna go with you because you're not answering your phone for me, right?
And
So
it's not even that I'm not even thinking about whether I want you or not. I'm still on a mission. I still need house cleaning. I'm still
yeah,
dialing. You're right. I'm still till I get
Yeah.
somebody to talk to.
yeah,
So
and because there's more volume out there, a lot of times you need to refocus not on necessarily spending more money, right? A lot of times, uh, when I say you shouldn't cut back on your marketing, doesn't mean you spend more money. It means you spend more time, which time is money.
okay.
And a big thing that I can see people do, and I talked about this on the last show, so I'm not going to cover it too much,
Okay.
was how your follow-up processes are, really getting into that
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Mhm.
How your customer service is. Um, Other things you can do is like how your content is on your website. In down times of the economy, everybody's thinking the same thing. Everybody's a little bit more nervous. If you've noticed that all the psychiatrists out there talk about the psychology with getting used to a big change in your life.
Yeah.
And like COVID was a good example of this. They say it takes 45 days for people to start getting used to the new change in their life.
Yeah.
And you noticed if you take a look at things during COVID, people were freaking out in the first week or two,
Yeah,
rightfully so in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But then
remember.
after 45 days, what started to happen? The stock market started to go like this, started to boost way up. People started to get more comfortable with the idea of having to wear a mask in public. They started to get more comfortable with the idea of walking outside again, and you just saw the behavioral changes. And this is the same thing for recessions as well. So, you want to speak to your clients not only with your ad copy, but with your website copy in a more empathetic tone, right? A little bit more understanding of the current situation. You
Mm,
want them to make them feel that you understand what they're dealing with the money's tight right now. And you want to be able to spend your money with a service that's going to be high quality like your own. And you got to really speak a little bit differently. Obviously, when you're working with SEO people, SEO agencies, you have to speak with the keywords as well. So
Yeah.
you have to kind of understand that a little bit. Even like, mentioning to your agencies, speaking more blogs about these topics and those types of things. So
mm,
changing your tone to what the economy is telling you can actually have a fairly large impact, especially like things with social media too. A lot of times people just want to be hoop and holler about how amazing their company is on their website. Like, look at all my reviews. I'm the best in the area. This and that, and this,
Yeah.
which is fine in a more upbeat economy. But people don't. A lot of times, misery likes company is the old-fashioned statement.
Yeah.
So if you're really empathetic with them on being like, we understand, we're going through tough times too, they're probably more willing to work with you because they understand you. So there's other
mm.
ways to really psychologically combat the situation too with the
Yeah.
content that you throw out there. Um,
Interesting.
and that's just
Okay.
a really easy way to kind of understand reviews. Obviously, that's another really big topic,
Mhm.
right? And a lot of people understand we're getting more. It's easy to understand if you get. And you've probably experienced this with your own businesses. When you have more reviews than everybody else, you notice an increase in lead generation. It doesn't matter if it's a down economy or an upbeat
Yeah. It doesn't
economy,
matter. Yeah.
right? And I know that getting reviews is an obvious thing, but it's people beat you up about get more reviews, get more reviews, get more reviews, and a lot of times people get very stagnant on getting more reviews. But it is that important, not only for your brand and showcasing how good you are to everybody else, but people don't really realize that when it comes to ranking in local search in the map pack, which is one of the best areas for lead generation on the internet, is Google looks at what's called review velocity. So the amount of reviews you get and how quickly you get them, and as the velocity increases, because if you
Mm.
really think about it, as your business grows, you get more customers.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Yeah.
your velocity of your reviews should get intensify as well. So Google looks for that natural progression with your brand over the years.
That
So
makes sense.
so you have to understand, just because you got 20, 30 reviews that last month, it doesn't mean you can take a break this month.
Right.
It's only going to have a negative impact on your lead generation and your rankings, which is also a part of your lead generation.
So, I really love this because it makes such perfect sense. This is something that I'm always preaching to all businesses, right?
Mhm.
Watch your numbers. Your numbers tell the story. And
Yep.
so all you're saying right now is Google watches their numbers because the numbers tell the story.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
that's what they're looking for is they don't care that you got how many reviews you have. What they care is your business growing? Are you getting more and more reviews? So they want to
Mhm.
see those reviews going up. That
Oh yeah.
makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. If you just
it's
think
a good,
about it, it just makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
it absolutely.
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
and right now it's a really good time to focus on it because if revenue is down because you're not getting as many calls, everything's kind of slower, that is a great place to kind of refocus your office staff's efforts into getting more views and just asking.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
literally an ask, right?
Yeah. And I've said
sometimes.
and say this to all my clients, like
Sometimes.
you can't force people. Like, you can rank much better, you can send out more ads out there, you can get Google guaranteed, you can throw out budgets everywhere you want, but you can't force somebody to click to when they land on your website. No marketer in this world can force them to call. No
Right,
marketer in this world can force them to fill out that form or book an
right.
appointment through whatever booking platform you have online. right?
Yeah.
You can't force people to do that. So when volume is low, so is sentiment in the economy. So even if they do come to your website, like I said, with your content, speaking more empathetic to them, is the sentiment, even if they do come to their website, you're going to get a lot more window shopping. Just like people do when they go through malls. When people have a lot more money, they're spending a lot more money. People still go to malls in a down economy, but they're just not spending as much money. They're window shopping. Everybody likes to window shop, probably in this room and on this thing. It's fun to just go to these fancy stores and places and just see dream about what you could have at some point in time.
Yeah.
And a
It's
lot,
true.
yeah. And so you got to really understand, it's not about, you got to get more market share. Another thing that I've been seeing, honestly, to Maria's point, is business owners have to start doing more. I notice a lot of business owners, once they have more established companies, they really are hands off and they just delegate, 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 and they don't really take responsibility for themselves. They don't do it. It's okay to delegate to the right sources, but you also have to step in when it's time to step in. Take responsibility for your company. You can't just point the finger at other people. You're your own worst enemy at the end of the day. People love pointing the finger. It's like
Yes,
when leads are down, and I can easily attest to this. When leads are down, honestly, the marketing is the first thing that people throw their finger at, right?
yeah.
But then when you really assess the business, it's like, oh, they're not getting any reviews because nobody's trained to get reviews. Oh, they're not answering the phones on the weekends because nobody's trained to do that. Oh,
Right.
they're not, there's all these things that you can pick at, but every single one of these little things adds up. And people, it's okay. You earned
Yeah.
it. You established a great company. You're making good money. You earn more time off. There's no doubt about it. But when things start you're responsible for a lot of employees out there and their salaries and their families. So when times get more tough, it is your responsibility to step back into your business and figure out other ways to market your brand,
Yeah.
right?
And to
Plain and simple.
recognize that you have to.
You have to,
Yeah.
unless you're okay with, going down for a little bit, because that's what's going to happen. Again, you can't force people to call you
Right.
just by pointing the finger at whoever you're delegating it to, but you can improve your current brand. I mean, everybody knows when you hire employees, they're all gun ho. They can't wait to get working. They're doing a great job in the beginning, and then talk about digression. They digress unless they get continual support and training.
Yeah.
And if you haven't trained one of your staff members, especially people answering the phone, in over a year, you're doing a bad service and a bad job,
Yeah.
right? You have to really assess those situations, and those types of things. So leads are digressing, and there's so many different ways that you can get better. You can rank for more keywords, right? Maybe you're already ranking really great. So what other long tail keywords can you rank for? Or let's take a look at your website content. Are you speaking to your current client base with the current sentiment that's in the economy? Let's take a look at your ads. Are you getting high quality clicks? Are you getting the right types of clicks? Are you focusing on display marketing or search marketing? We can really nitpick this and nitpick it with your agency, right?
Yeah.
It's not about getting angry that your leads are going down. It's trying to figure out a way to get it better, because everybody's in the same bucket right now. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's leads are down. It has nothing to do with anything, because other than the sentiment is not that great right now. But again, yeah.
So just last night I was on a podcast with Sean Day on, oh gosh, what is it? Higher Lead Chill, I believe, is his company and his Facebook page where we went live. And we were talking about how, not that long ago, we thought we were amazing because the leads were just coming to us. We're closing leads, right?
After COVID, it was raining leads, right?
What?
Yeah.
we thought it was us. We are so good. And now we're starting to figure out, okay, it's not out there, y'all. It's that we're not as great as we thought. There aren't like millions of fish just fishing in a barrel. We got to do a little bit of work now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And tweak things at time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to tweak stuff. We got to
get creative.
Switch them up. Or just like you said, simple thing about the tone of the website. But that takes some time. It's like,
it takes time, because it takes, you're speaking to the tone of your customers. So unfortunately, you can have your marketing agency try it out if you want to ask them, or your marketing person. But at the end of the day, how it comes from yourself with the area that you understand and the target audiences that which nobody should understand better than you, the owner.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That content needs to come from you. Take an hour or two and write a page of content to put onto your homepage, right? And then
Yeah.
give it to your marketing agency to add their SEO optimizations to it and post it,
And
right?
make it
Change
better.
it up. Yeah, make it better, make it more robust.
Yeah.
Maybe your headline on your hero image at the top of your website, which is the prime real estate of a website, maybe you need to stop saying number one best everything in the area. Nobody, again, misery likes company. And you need to understand, like, maybe you say something along the lines as, uh, something else that is empathizing. Times are tough right now, but let's make your life a little bit easier by having a clean house. Because I know my wife, when our house is clean, her stress level goes from here to here.
Oh my gosh, so
Right?
true. So true.
So, talk about it in that way rather than look at me, I'm the best. You can talk about look at me, I'm the best when the economy gets better because people like that stuff. People love jumping
You
on
can
the
flex
train
the
with
muscles then.
Oh yeah, people love jumping on the train with who's the best, who looks the best. Look at social media. It's all like who's awesome, so everybody follows that person.
Well,
Right?
also when I can afford it, of course I want the best.
Yeah.
But if my pocketbook is a little thin, I want the best I can afford.
Yeah.
Right. So then I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more picky. I'm not just looking for the best. Now I'm looking for a lot more than that. People who get it, people who understand my situation, back to the whole know, like, and trust thing. I gotta feel like they're on the same page as me. Yeah, this makes perfect sense to me.
Even when times are good, the sentiment out there is very positive. And even if you can't afford it, people finance it. People put more money onto their credit cards just because they want to be like everybody else.
Totally true.
But now that the interest rates and credit card rates are sky high, people are kind of nervous about doing that anyway still.
They're doing it though. You saw more credit card usage in the past 6 months. It's going back up again. Here it's going because of exactly what you say. We, especially here in the United States, right? I'm not speaking to Spain or other countries, but in our country, for sure, we are very much about our stuff makes us feel good. Right?
I mean, after today, you saw after, so I don't know if people follow, I like to follow the markets and stuff, but Tesla, everybody knows what Tesla is out there.
Yeah.
Probably one of the more popular brands out there in the world, one of the probably the best marketing brand out there in the world as well. Their sales were reported after the bell today for the quarter, and guess what? They were way down. They missed expectations. Even the most popular brand with the best marketing spends billions of dollars on marketing in the world, has a super amazing CEO that has the millions and billions, quadrillions of followers, still can't hit their numbers, right? So what makes you think that you guys can hit your numbers? Right. So you got to really kind of understand, you got to set the expectations for the modern. A lot of times customers have like companies have this idea is like, I need to get 70 leads a week for every week to hit my goal numbers, but they don't adjust it when the volume and things decline. They don't see that, and they don't know how to fix it. And guess what? Unfortunately, there's not really that many easy ways to fix it. You can't just throw money at a situation to fix things in these type of ways. So maybe if you tweak your website to make your conversion rates a little bit better,
I love it.
That's awesome. I saw a good stat here the other day. I forgot where you.
All right, so I'm writing down these ideas because I'm going to pass them on to everybody. Right when it's a down economy, and you can, of course, you can throw more money at any problem. You always can, but here are some things that might work even better than throwing money at stuff. Tweak your website. And this is probably good advice. Like, how often do you need to be tweaking your website? Dan, I would think that this is something
I would. The problem I see with most websites is people use stock imagery. I had a big topic about using, what makes customers feel good when they come to a website they see, let's say, I'm in Seattle, so I was talking about Seattle, is like, what if I see a picture of the Seattle skyline? I'd be like, oh, a local company. Or I see an imagery of your cars or people that are like me going to work and trying to clean my houses, instead of people happy on the sofa smiling with their cup of coffee and their dog next to them in the perfect world, which is a very common stock imagery.
I know. I'm like, I know that
Mhm.
picture.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
gonna do it right now.
I mean, come on, let's get real. Let's be real with people. Like, go out and take some raw photographs. You're not asking you to go spend thousands of dollars on professional photography, but go have somebody of your staff or yourself go take some real pictures.
More relatable.
More
Relatable, real people smiling, right? Like
smiling, things like that. I've also been talking a lot about videos. Videos is becoming a hot topic, right? Because videos is not only becoming good for user experience and people staying on your website longer, but it's also becoming more important for SEO rankings. Meaning that if, a lot of times I've been seeing companies rank well, they'll create videos about their location. Like if they create a video about Olympia, and they post it into their YouTube channel and they call it house cleaning in Olympia, Washington. And then in the description, they talk about house cleaning in Olympia, Washington and all the things. And then they embed that video on their Olympia, Washington page. Google kind of sees YouTube is owned by Google. So they see that connection and that optimization of that video, and it will actually help out your SEO rankings as well. And then it also helps out your brand experience. It makes your company more real. Videos aren't easy to create, but you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be pretty. You don't have to be all these things that people.
Actually, you're better if you're not.
Yeah, be real.
I like the real video so much better.
Me too. And that's what also why AI content's not that great, right? People will create videos and content based on AI, but it's very generic. It's not relatable as much.
Yes.
Yet,
Yes.
but so that's not nearly as important either right now for creating content. It's just the easy way to do it. And usually the easy way to do it isn't the best way to do it. Again, good stat
Dan-
right here before this.
Yeah.
5% increase in your customer retention
Oh my God.
can shoot up your company revenue by 25 to 95%.
Yes.
Okay, those are huge
push
stats,
on
right?
this huge. We push on this constantly in our circles. Okay, so here's a number I would love to get from you, Dan. I'm guessing that you have something along this.
Sure.
So I'll have people, right? And so we track, everybody tracks their KPIs on a regular basis, either daily or weekly. And we'll have people that will say things like, oh, I need to spend more on marketing. Well, the first thing I look at if somebody says that they need to spend more on marketing is first, what's your close rate? Because if your close rate is 4%, why do you spend more money? Well, that makes no sense to you, right? You're just now paying for other people to get more clients, right? Not you. So do you have any numbers like what is a good, like either where is a good close rate where now it's time to kick out some more money, or when you're kicking out a certain amount of money, when is it time to say, okay, now I need to start doing something else? Because you have to spend money. You're not suggesting at all, just pull back on all of your AdWords marketing and just tweak your website and add some videos, right? You're not saying that.
It's you can always maybe increase your leads by increasing your marketing dollars, but unfortunately you might end up spending more than what you're increasing by. So when I see close rates by the cleaning industry in general, I usually see somewhere between 40 to 60%. Sometimes people hoop and holler saying they have 50, 60, 70% close rates, but they're usually full of it. It's usually they have 40, 50, 60% close rates on the people they talk to on the phone.
Right.
They're not incorporating all the missed calls that they missed, or all the calls they didn't get to on the weekend, or all the leads they got through their forms, which is kind of dishonest when people hoop and holler about that.
I don't think it's dishonest. I think really, and I've talked to a bunch of these people, so I don't believe it's dishonest. I think they think that's a more real number. Like I didn't even talk to those other people. Why would I include them in my? They really believe. Why would I include those in my numbers? Because I never even talked to them. I never even had a chance. I'm not open on the weekends or whatever.
They're
I mean,
measuring in a different way.
yeah, they're thinking
Yeah.
this is a more accurate number. This is a problem in our industry, I think.
Yeah.
You don't find this in other industries. Everybody tracks the numbers exactly the same way,
Yeah.
right? This is how you do it. In our industry, we're like, we do what we feel like.
Yeah,
But
which is unfortunate. You know,
yeah,
like we were talking about increasing your marketing dollars to increase your leads, but you
yeah.
have to look at your closing rate first.
Mhm.
To me, if you define a lead, it's anybody who tries to reach out to you to inquire about your services,
Okay.
right?
So included in that is anybody that sends you a message through what are one of those companies?
Yeah, I mean, you can pick.
Like,
I'm going to say
like
yes.
chat.
Who?
Like,
Who'd you say, Maria?
Well, I didn't know if you were talking about like the chat, like the little chat bubbles. Is
Yeah,
that what
like
you're
a
making
little chat,
reference
right?
to?
Like a little chat bubble, or
Yeah,
if you
there's
they
a
hit
million
your
of them.
website
Yeah.
just asking for a price, how much, they're just checking the pricing on, a 2,500 square foot
Mhm.
house. So is there anything you don't count, Dan?
if somebody calls you inquiring about plumbing services,
High five.
right?
Okay.
Right.
Very clear. Very
So
clear.
there's quality. There's either a lot of times people, like you said, when the leads were raining on us after COVID for a year or two,
Yeah.
right? People got so used to cherry picking what they wanted to talk to and the leads that came in
Yeah. Yeah.
first versus thing. But now, guess what? We're in a time where you can't really cherry pick as much. You
Mhm.
have. I'm surprised there's people that don't go back to the leads that they got a month ago and give them a call back.
I think
Mm.
they do.
No,
I think definitely people are doing more of that for sure.
good, and as they
Like,
should.
That's good.
yeah.
But like any lead, whether it's a very low quality lead or an extremely high quality lead, is a lead,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have to put those into your numbers to be able to
Okay.
take assessment of things. Because if you're a good salesperson of your brand, you should be able to turn a lower quality lead at least sometimes into a potential customer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in listening
Yeah.
sales, our sales program, it is one of the things that we teach is if someone is contacting you, they're interested in your service. Period.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Right.
In some way, they may be in
Some way.
different buyer phases, but they're
Absolutely.
definitely
But
interested.
they're
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll give you an example.
Nobody's wasting that time contacting you if they're not interested at all.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a low quality lead I had today.
Okay.
Is I have one of my staff members runs our cold email marketing campaign,
Okay.
and I got an email from an owner of a contracting company, and it says, "Oh, I don't have time for this today, but you can contact our marketing director for to see if this is something that we need."
Right.
In our world, that's a low quality lead, but
Right.
you have the CEO saying to contact his employee to talk to him.
Yeah.
So if I send an email or call that person being like, "Hey, CEO XYZ told me to reach out to you," you better believe that marketing director is going to listen to this because his boss told me to reach out to him.
Yeah.
And
They're paying attention.
that actually happens quite often in our world. And I can't tell you how many times I've turned that into an actual customer.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
but
Good.
I guess what? I had to put a little bit more time and effort as
Right.
the owner to make sure that I achieved that business.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're just going to get a lot more lower quality leads out
Okay.
there with people window shopping. So you either got to convince them on the phone of why you're more affordable or why you're better, or you understand their situation. Therefore, here we'll give you 30% off your first cleaning, and you let us know how it is, and I'll call you after that's over, and we'll see if we can book you another one, and if it was up to your standards, right? If you
Yeah.
really handhold people, they're going to want to spend money with you.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot of different topics to talk about with lead digression,
Yeah.
in a way. But I think there's many ways to combat it by putting a little TLC into your work. So
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a quick question for you.
sure.
So you mentioned adding video, which obviously keeps people on your website longer. And you mentioned, changing the copy a little bit to make it, not as flex my muscles. Look how great we are. Look how, me, us, right? More into what's in it for you, a little bit more empathetic, softer tone. As far as SEO, how impactful is making those changes in Google's eyes? Could it be that the more you're changing it on a long-term basis, it's going to benefit you anyways? Is that a thing anymore? I know it used to be.
Yeah, having more robust the more content you have, the better, essentially, right? So if you're
Okay.
changing your more empathetic tone on top of your SEO optimized content, you're probably adding a lot more words to it, which is always good. Plus, one of Google's algorithm ticks is they want to see your website continually be updated. So they want to see you working on your website and updating, adding more pages, adding more content, because to Google in their eyes, what their algorithm thinks is if there's a website that's been stagnant for 2 years without any updates, what kind of user experience is that? So
Yeah.
therefore
Yeah.
they don't want to position
I'm
that
not sending
website
our
as well.
people there. Yeah.
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 They don't
So
want to send
Okay.
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. Now the what you say in your empathetic tone, you might not be as keyword stuffy, so it might not benefit you as much from a ranking perspective unless you optimize that content with keywords or you make a lot more content. But the idea is, especially if you are so, a lot of times the people that complain the most are the people that were used to getting so many leads and just aren't getting it anymore. So what I say then is why don't you change your tone of your content? Because if you take a look, you're ranking really well across the board. Nothing has negatively impact your rankings, your AdWords, or anything else for your leads to drop. So therefore, the only thing that's
Mm,
impacting your leads to drop is obviously the volume of the people searching for your services in a
yeah.
lot of ways. And we're talking just a lead specifically with SEO. And so therefore, what you can do to combat that? Well, you can rank for more keywords that you're not already ranking for, of course. It's an easy one.
Mhm.
Or you can try to work on your website conversion. Take a look at how presentable your website is. Take a look at how easy it is to navigate. Take a look at your empathetic tones. Take a look at how fast your website's loading. All these little things that you're kind of taking a look at to assess a website to see how could I make a better experience for the customer I know so well on my website for the times that we currently are living in today, right? And
I'm
that's
always
really is
surprised by
yeah.
sorry, I'm always surprised when I go to websites how the phone number is hard to find. You have to a lot of websites, you have to scroll to the very bottom to find the
Oh,
contact us. I'm like, dude, I just want to call you and give you my money, man.
yeah.
But
So true.
That's the first thing I point out when I assess a website when I'm going that over a potential leader or client is I'll go over their website and the technicalities of how fast their website's loading right away, just because that's more important to me from an SEO side. And then I'll go on to the aesthetic side of things and I look at the navigation and above the fold first. And if that navigation is complicated, like for instance, they have a lot of times people like to put 20 different links in
All
that
the things.
navigation. Like, look at all the
Mhm.
things we have for you,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
that just confuses customers. They've already searched your brand. They've already went to the internet. They searched for house cleaning services in your area. They looked at your reviews. They checked out your information, and they chose to come to your website. So why are you distracting them with all this nonsense of all this other stuff?
Mm,
Right? They
Yes.
already have
fair.
intent to get in touch with you. Just make it easy to get in touch with them. It's not rocket science. You're a cleaning company, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
Like, like,
What are you afraid of? What are you
well,
afraid they're going to want?
they just
Clean?
yeah, they just want to know your pricing. They don't
Yeah.
want they don't want to be duped. They don't want to get into this long sales process. Nobody likes to go to a car lot and get sold by salespeople all
No,
day long,
no,
right?
nobody
Just
likes that.
be transparent and straightforward to them. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
I have to cut you off, Dan,
Oh, we
because
can't
it is
talk about it
now.
already?
No, I know it's 2:59, but I do have just one quick question for you, Dan.
Yep.
Let me see if I can share my screen here. Always struggle to share my screen, but I'm gonna try really, really hard. So if people are enjoying what they're hearing from you, right? Am I sharing my screen, y'all?
Oh yeah.
Am I? Do I have one click
yeah,
marketing
yeah.
up? Okay, good. So, Dan, we have people that are doing marketing all the time on the show because it's a
Mhm.
big deal, right?
Without
So we're
without leads, you don't have sales. Without sales, you don't have money. Right?
that's right. So we're always bringing
Mhm.
marketing people on. But what I'd like to ask you today is why should people call you and why should they reach out to Dan at One Click Marketing?
Oh gosh, it's a great question. I'm very real with people, whether it's good news or bad news. But just because I'm real with people and our agency is very real with people, we can always find a solution or another route to make things improve. It's not just keep going down the same route. We roll the punches, right?
Yeah,
Been
I
doing
like
this for 15 years. I've worked with 100 cleaning companies by now. You know, I would love to talk more about that, but you know, we know what other companies are experiencing in other areas, and you're not alone, right? Your marketing that you're experiencing right now doesn't mean that you're alone in this. So I can able to share what other people are doing for success, not just with what we do as a marketing agency, but I can talk to them about email marketing, cold calling, customer service, all these other things that they want to talk about based on the experiences I've had with other cleaning companies. Also, our communication, you know, there's not, you know, you guys both can attest to this because you were both our clients, and you can know that when you communicate and you have a question for us, there's not a day that goes by where you're not hearing back from us.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, if you're worried about communication, or as if your company gotten stagnant with you, we're not that company. You know, if you have a question and you need something fixed, we're going to fix it. So you know, at the end of the day, we're very transparent, we're very real, and we're very experienced in this specific industry.
Okay. I was going to give you a plug as well. My plug for you is that we have been working with you, I don't know, for a few years now. And one of the things that I most appreciate is, so especially for my cleaning company, I am checked out. I'm not there. I haven't been for over a year. You know that, Dan.
No comment.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's intentional for me. I just need somebody else to be doing a better job, and I got you for that. But one thing that I really appreciate is when something does come up, it's you that will, like, if something isn't being addressed well enough by me, by our company, you will reach out personally and say, "Hey, Liz, did you check this out? Have you seen this? Pay attention, Liz. Look here. This is something that's going on here." That to me is very valuable in a company that I'm working with. That the owner of the company is paying attention to the point of reaching out to me and making sure that
Yeah, we don't churn and burn through clients. That's why I said
no,
we keep our clients to 110 max.
yeah,
You know, we care if you were to leave us. It bothers me a lot,
yeah,
right?
I know that.
So I'll do anything and everything within my power to
Yeah,
fix the situation if somebody wants to leave us, right?
yeah.
For whatever their personal reasons are. So, you know, I thank you for that, Liz. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, that's a true experience. That's just a quick testimonial that is truth of my experience. Don't know if everybody.
And
No.
my
And
experience, yeah, my experience is so yeah, obviously working with Dan one by one, one on one, but he's got a great team behind him. Like all the interactions I had with his team, they're all like, oh my gosh, they're all responsive, and it feels like you've got like your own personal collaborative team on your side. So
yeah, and they're not in their
it's
own buckets. Like I said, they all know what the other team, like somebody that's writing this content, gets handed to our dev team to implement that dev team and then to optimize that content. So they're all working together.
Yeah. Which is
I sent
awesome.
you my information, Liz. You know, if
Okay.
anybody wants to contact me directly, I'll be happy to talk to them personally. So
All right. You heard that, all y'all. If you have any questions you're interested in speaking more to Dan, reach out and we will give you the details. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks, Maria, for helping me out here today. And I really appreciate chatting with everybody. We will talk to you. Actually, I won't be here next week. It'll be Tom next week. So different experience again. All right, y'all. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
thanks to you, everybody.
bye.
Bye, guys.